see this hole is wallered out pretty bad. These are not going to be the right size to fit into there. What I'm going to do is, I know a guy that does machine work. I actually bought a snowmobile off him a while back. I'll go to him and see if he can machine those out so that that fits precisely into them. Inside there's the bearing that needs to be changed. There's the new rubber bushing, there's the old one. You can see that that was flattened right out. This, as you can see, is too bad. Welcome back to Cody's Corner Garage. Behind and above me is my 68 Mercedes. I'll link the last video over here somewhere in this here. Anyway, last episode we left off, I had to get some parts machined on the drive shaft. Well, I got that done, so we're back. And we're going to try and get this drive shaft put together today. So let's dig right into it. So this is the front half of the drive shaft. This is a flex disc for a 77 Mercedes. Now in 77, to center it on the transmission, they used a bushing in here, and there's a pin that comes out from the transmission and drives into it. In 68, they had a different setup. They used this in between the drive shaft and the flex disc. Now, this piece will no longer work with what I'm doing, so I have to figure out how to get some sort of bearing, I might even reuse this one, pressed into this part of the shaft, which isn't right, but it will work. So, I'm going to have to go get some parts tomorrow, but in the meantime, I think I'll try and get this part apart, since I already know what I'm doing here. There's a snap ring in there. It's got to come out. There. Now this is probably going to be seized. Holy crap, no it isn't, it came off. Wow. I'm honestly kind of surprised that just happened. Alright. There's the snap ring. Now, I have to get a puller. Take that off. Oh, well, that didn't take much. Okay. So there's a snap ring in the back here, right in there. And then I have this bearing. I'll change that. Stick that back together. At least that'll be one job done. Alright, so I juiced this up and I left it heating for a while. See what happens. Also, if you don't have a set of these gloves, my wife got me these for Christmas. They're a complete game changer, guys. It's like having someone to hold the flashlight for you while you work, except the person holding the flashlight isn't an idiot. Might need a vise here soon. There. Out. Now, if I can get the right size socket in there, maybe an axle socket. Hopefully, it's not growing up too bad. I can tap it out of there with a hammer. There we go. Put it on concrete. It's going. Yep. There it is. Alright. Got a very light coat of grease on that. A very light coat of grease around the outside of this. This just helps it go together easier. Now, I'm going to show you a trick that works that my wife doesn't like, but it works great. So step one is get the housing out here in some heat, just like that. Now that housing's aluminum in this case, so it'll work even better. That'll heat up. And we're going to take the other piece and go in the house. So we got the housing outside in the heat. Put the bearing in the freezer and wait about 20 minutes. There it is. Get that cleaned up. Back in. Now, getting it on there might be tricky. So, I got that all back together. That is completely silent now. And as you can see, it's tight. There's no play at all. So, moving on to figuring out what I'm going to do with that other part of the drive shaft now. This appears to have a bearing in it, so I'm going to pop that out and see what it is, and see if I can get a bushing in the morning to stick it into the other end of that drive shaft, try and figure something out. So now that I got this apart, I can understand how it works a little bit better. So this goes into that pin that I was talking about on the tail shaft of the transmission. Basically, it goes like this. This bolts to the tail shaft of the transmission. This would butt up against that side of it with that pin coming in through here. And then the drive shaft bolts on like that. But that's not going to work in my scenario. What I have to figure out how to do is get all of that put into the end of this. Because this has to sit directly up against this, in my case. So, there's a couple ways of doing that. The first one is to just get the front half of a drive shaft from a 77 Mercedes. But that's way too easy. And expensive. So what I'm going to try and do is figure out a way to make a bushing that goes inside of this drive shaft and press that bearing that I'll show you here in a minute into the end of this. And then I have to figure out how far out it's going to have to be, and I have to figure out some way to keep the bearing in there. Now maybe a pressed fit will be good enough, but what I'll explain to you here in a minute is that I think the way it's supposed to work is that bearing should be able to float. So you've got this. This is your bearing that sits inside it. It comes in 3 pieces. And it's almost like a rod end. Like that can swivel around so that when the pin in that transmission needs to have a little bit of movement, it can. But if you can imagine that pin coming through like my finger, if this moves like this, but it's hooked to a drive shaft, it has to be able to go forward and back slightly too, which is where the spring comes in. So inside here, you had the bearing, and then the spring, and then the snap ring. So I have to get the same kind of thing inside a bushing that presses into the drive shaft, into here. So all of this ends up inside of that. So wish me luck tomorrow. If I get the right parts, you'll see me putting this back together soon. If not, then it'll be a couple months later and I'll have a drive shaft. So this might give you a better idea here. There's that pin I was talking about. So that goes onto the transmission. If it'll stay there for me. There. So that's like that. Then this would slip on to that pin like that, but with the bearing in the middle. And then the drive shaft itself would bolt to that through here.
How many winter vehicles do you have? 2? Suburban and Jetta?
Yep.
They're both 30-year-old plus diesels.
Yep.
That are worn out.
Yep.
Well, the Suburban is worn out, but the engine isn't. That's not a first in history. The vehicle worn out around its engine. Or it's the same as this, I guess. This engine wore out a W123. Now it lives on in this thing. It's hilarious.
Old Mercedes, they live forever.
Every single piece of this car was built, put together by hand, and probably mostly built.
There. That'll definitely need longer bolts. There, see? That's all moved.
It's probably balanced. It's probably... Oh, look at it, this sinks right back down. See if you can get this off.
I'm wondering if we can just drop it without even changing those.
Wow. Changing them? I don't think we have to change them, but it'd be nice to see what that transmission mounting looks like.
It's pretty beat out by the look of that.
You know what? This bolt was probably put in at the factory
And never been out.
because he left it on the transmission and just stuck it in here.
Yep.
You know what I mean, though? Because Buddy probably left that right on the transmission and just drilled, because these aren't proper holes. He just went, oh, let's put her in like that, drilled 2 holes and put 2 cobbled up little bolts through.
Yeah.
That's alright.
That's off.
Now you can take this whole thing off. Your stub's just side loaded there. Wiggler out. Or try something in between the stud and that. Catch it all with one hand, I guess. And try the other side. Try the other side of it. The side that's not. It'll come out of there. It's probably full of corrosion. It is aluminum.
There. Out. And away. Except the exhaust isn't my way now.
Just push it aft. Go aft with it. No,
I'm trying. There we go. There. Well, that wasn't too bad. Okay.
There, look. This is how you do the flex discs now. With that out of the way, wouldn't that be much better?
Now I got to figure out a way to shim this down so we're gonna need longer bolts.
Let's lower it because I want to see how low it'll go without really making causing a problem up here. I don't think it will. It'll go quite far.
The only thing I foresee being a problem is look right up by the linkage for the transmission. Right up here.
Oil filter housing?
Yeah. It's in gear. It's already almost hitting.
You better friggin' put something on that oil filter housing to cover that, because that's gonna, if that reams a hole, look, it's already got a bunch of damage on it.
I already changed it so that there's clearance there.
Yeah, that's good. Jesus.
But if we drop this too much, that's gonna hit again.
That's about where you want it lined up.
Let's look over here. Does that get way closer? A little bit. I might climb up and put the car in drive, because that's where it conflicts with it.
It might be a little bit low, ever so slightly. It might, like half a pump might work.
Let me go up and put the car into drive. Watch that shift linkage.
Yep.
I'll put it in drive and I'll just leave it there and then we'll know where it's going to hit. It doesn't hit anywhere else. Okay. That's reverse. Neutral. That's drive right there.
Yeah, it's sitting right on it.
Okay. So we'll have to kind of balance between the two then. There is a pump for that right here.
And look. Try that. I bet you we were the first one to break that loose from that transmission.
I imagine.
Don't tighten it.
That's good. Alright. Okay. I'm letting this back down. Right?
Whoa.
We need a shim plate and a bolt. Now, if that's going to go that far down, we're going to need a lot more than that. Now, is that anywhere near down far enough? Not really, is it?
It's hard to tell.
Yep. Yep, I'd say that's it. Turn it. Go to the next one. Keep going. Oh, right there. I got better luck putting it in from this side. Alright, better. Yep. Next. Yep, oh, right there. Go again. That's it. Let's get this up into here.
Give it a try, it probably won't fit. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Bang. Perfect. Give that a little tap. It'll be on that recess.
Look how far off center it is back here though. Well, do you want to bolt that right up then? Do you think?
Well, at least give it a tap to get it in place and seated. It's not seated.
This is where we had to start rolling the car back and forth. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. This bridge jack worked. I could just jack it up and let the wheels spin, but quite get that on there. Start there. Okay. Now, do we have room to go forward, bots?
I bet you those coil spring area mounts would be bad on these for rust. On the
They
ones
are.
that, yeah.
My dad actually warned me about that. With these, he said that's where they all rust out.
Well, this one was one of the lucky ones.
Yeah. Okay. Roll it ahead a little more, if we can.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, right there.
A little shitty one here.
Yeah. Yeah, thin one. That's what I wanted.
And you can give that tab a whack and she's good to go.
Yep.
Try to get them fairly tight though. I'll hold her for you.
I'm just using the open end for now. I'll tighten it with the closed end. I was thinking if you just put the e-brake on in the car, that would hold it from turning.
This is easier.
You ready?
Wait, I gotta get actually in here.
There, it's tight as I can get that.
Well, probably have to take this drive shaft out again, so.
There, that's over it enough. Good?
Yep.
Still got it? There, it's tight. Jammer.
I don't know what I'm doing. See?
Right. Okay. Good enough. Keep going. Keep going right there. No, keep going. There it is. Keep going. A little more. A little bit more. Ready? Yeah. There. Tight.
Drive shaft. Not out in a long time. That bearing wasn't too bad though that you changed.
Center support bearing?
Yeah.
Oh, that was easy. I'll have to put the e-brake all back together too. There. Okay. Now, we'll just keep working our way forward. This has to get tightened up somehow.
Could probably just chalk the car and use a big pipe wrench. Just give it a good
I wonder
tweak.
if I could just give it a tap with a flathead screwdriver and a hammer. You know what I mean? I did have a huge adjustable here. Back working on.
I think we could call the Mercedes dealership and get the proper tools.
How big is it?
46 mil.
46? Because this goes to about 43. Probably just under where it needs to be. Yeah, just barely. Tight. So we got it pretty much done now. That's all back in and tight. The little bushings I had to make are in there. You can just see it peeking through right there. Got the center support bearing back in. That's all tight. That's greased. This is tight. These are all tight. The locking tabs are down. That's about her. The only thing I might have to do at some point is take this back out and get it rebalanced, because I made a really dumb mistake, and I didn't mark the positions that were here. You know, take a marker and go right across there. I didn't do that. So we just stuck it back in. I'm going to hope it doesn't shake, and if it does, I'll get it balanced again. Anyway, if you ever do this on a 2-piece drive shaft, don't do what I did. Mark that, because that matters right here. Right there. Next episode, we're going to make it so you can't get your hand up into the floor. And also, so that there's not duct tape and tire holding the back end of the thing together, you know. That's not so good. So we're going to fix that, fix the floor in the same spot as here, but on the other side of the car. Take the wheels off, check all the things in there, make sure that's all good. And then start checking fluids and changing oil and just regular maintenance then. And eventually, maybe, I'll get around to doing stuff like making this look better or fixing this trim. But don't sweat the little stuff. Just get it on the road. Anyway, so that'll do it for this video. If you like the video, click like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I said, next episode, we might work on this. We might work on a Boa ski snowmobile, or 2 of them, or an 86 Jetta. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But we'll work on something. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.